All right, Shalom, Shalom. This is part two. Kahala Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushua, Ba'ashim, Hakwadash. Yahweh being the true name of the Father is word and calls God. Yahushua being the true name of the Son is word and calls Jesus Christ. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect and to the brothers that's pushing this truth in sincerity, risking life and freedom to do so. All right, it's your brother Labar coming at you with another lesson in truth, and this is gonna be part two of the real Jews are so-called black, man. So let's open up with the first scripture. This is Lamentations 4:8. This is in your holy Bible, man. That you was not taught this. Their visage is blackened and cold, so they're just giving you a physical description how the Israel, how the tribe of Judah look. Okay, and this is going back into the Israelites, right? So let's get back into it. Their visage is blacker than coal. They are not known in the streets. So the so-called blacks, Hispanic, and Native Americans are not known as being the true biblical Israelites in America, man. And this is spiritual understanding to the scripture that we're going into. Their skin cleaved to their bones, it is withered, and they just become like a stick, right? So it was a fainting. They was hungry. All right. So the so-called black man is looked down on this society on, right? And so on and so forth. So getting back into part two of this would be a map of so-called Africa, which Africa got his name was Scipio Africanus, right? Which was an Edomite that came and invaded so-called Africa and renamed it that. But it actually is called the land of Ham. So as you can see at the very top, right, to the far right, you have the landmass of Israel, where we came from. This is our homeland, right? And you can see if you look at these lines going across, right? One going to Morocco at the very top, a line going to Ghana, this third line going to Nigeria. So that's how people got and they migrated over, because we're gonna get into some information that proves this. So they came out of the land of Israel, as you see, and that's how they got into Africa, man, as we know it. And that's how they got more particularly into West Africa, towards the bottom part right here, Nigeria. And Africans didn't sell other Africans. They knew that we was different people. And if you look at an old map, which I'm gonna find, right around Nigeria and Ghana, between that part and going up, you had the kingdom of Judah had settled in that area now, and they went to different parts of Africa, but a bulk of them was in West Africa. So when the so-called white man came over there doing the transatlantic slave trade, they knew who they was capturing, and this was prophecy that this would happen to us. All right, so let's get into this book that's called Africa to Timbuktu, and this is the book. I advise you to get this book. We'll get into some information that's in a section of this book, right? So we're going to read this. In the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state. So there'll be another term, Jewish, that they put in there, which would be Judah, right? Okay, then they have the modern term that they use, the Judean or Judea. Same people, same landmass. Okay, and Jewish would be the same thing. You see how I create these words to cause confusion? Jewish state, that's not even a real term, but we're going to run with it. With great slaughter. So they came into our land, the Romans, the so-called white people, right? During the period of the military governors of Palestine, Salakia. Many outrage, and outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people during the period from Pompey to Julius. It has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa. 1 million Jews fled into Africa, man. Why did we go to Africa? Because we was familiar with that, with Africa, during the Egyptian captivity, man. All right? Fleeing the Roman persecution and slavery. They was killing our people and putting to death, and he's put into slavery, like how they did it during the transatlantic slave trade. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves, man. We're going to read that again. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves. All right? Don't get no clearer than that. Okay? So let's go into back to this map, and then we'll get into a video that Hollywood made that they know who you are. You just don't know who you are. You calling yourself black, African American. I'm just a human. I'm a Buddhist. I'm a Hindu. I believe in this religion. It's madness. All right. So you see this map here in 70 AD, which if you rewind time, almost 2,000 years ago, right? We was in the land of Israel. And then the Romans, which if you go into another map, it'll show you what the Roman Empire consisted of. They came in and destroyed us, killed us, and they was doing all kind of. Our people resorted to cannibalism, man. Right, and they ran into out of the jurisdiction of the Roman Empire. Right, they went into West Africa, so they migrated to West Africa. It took them time to get there, right, and they went all over. But the bulk of them went into West Africa, where you see Nigeria, Ghana, to the far north. All right, so that, and like I said on the old map, between there you have the kingdom of Judah. Now we'll do that in another lesson. So we'll get into this Hollywood movie that was made, movie rather, and this is called The Message in 1976. So these devils know, you just don't know, and they're not gonna tell you the truth, because if they tell you the truth, it's over for them, man. That mean their rulership is over. Which, we'll get into another breakdown about that. But we're getting close to getting up out of here, man. You didn't come over here to work on these jobs the rest of your life and try to grind your way to the top. Nah, you in captivity. You in the land of your punishment. You wasn't supposed to come over here to be comfortable. That's why we catch so much hell over here. That's why we can't never get ahead. That's why we at the bottom on all these stats, man. You can't get around those curses. And those curses were only put on one people, you Israelites. Okay?
We cannot afford scandal.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna put the subtitles. Okay.
I think I can bring them back.
All right. So this is movie gonna go into, and I want you to pay attention to the subtitle because I'm gonna pause it.
Yes. Abyssinia. Rise up now. There is nothing you may ask for that we will not give. Lion of Judah.
All right. So you see, it says Lion of Judah. Why do you say Lion of Judah? Because the lion was attached to our tribe because the power, the regalness, you know what I'm saying, the royalty of a lion, man. So that's the animal that was attached to our tribe, which would be Judah, right? So he says Lion of Judah. It goes back into the Jews, man. And they got it. Look at that, the so-called black man. And you're gonna see all these people being so-called black men because they know the truth. And they actually put the truth in the movie until they start whitewashing these later movies. They got, more whitewashed. And they start doing the art like in the Renaissance era with Leonardo da Vinci, all these painters. They took the Messiah and they changed his name in the Bible and all that, and they painted him being a so-called white man. That man that you've been praying to is an actual demon. He was a demonic man, actual man named Caesar Borgia, man. He's a very wicked man. So check this out.
I don't know where to begin. You have our friendship.
We're gonna skip it up a little bit.
Why am I not informed? They are rebels in religion. But as Jesus Christ is our core.
Look at that. So-called black men. They got it correct. Because the Jews are so-called black people. They knew that. And they still know that. Now more of the I guess, what they call the Generation X or whatever, these Edomites, these so-called white people that's in their 30s, they don't know what's going on, man. But the older ones, the upper echelon of them, know who you are. And these are not so-called African men, because it's a difference between the so-called black man and the so-called African man. and you see it in your day-to-day life. So it's a difference from these men and from the so-called African men, which they really go back into the their father would be the Hamite, Ham. So let's get into it. So you see for your own self. We proving all things, right? Let's go into this archaeology. So we're gonna skip this up a little bit. I want to show you something. This is actual in a museum in London now. So let's get into this.
Looked like. So this is our first glimpse at what Sennacherib, king of the universe, tunic or a skirted tunic with he's wearing almost like a and he has not long headdress, and she's also wearing a very simple tunic all the way down to.
Okay, found the part I wanted. Is that as I showed you in the first video, that this is actually carved in stone archaeology in a museum, man. These are the Israelites, Judites.
And this is what we see, the exiles from Ashtarot, which is located at Tel Ashtara. That's what they would have been wearing in the 8th century before the Common Era. Now, our third set of Assyrian reliefs come from the reign of Sennacherib, who ruled at Nineveh in the 7th century before the Common Era. What we see here is King Sennacherib with his face blotted out, sitting upon a chair.
And you see them devils, what they do, they like to break up the statues' noses and deface them so that don't, because we got, very distinctive features. So they'll come and deface them and break them so people can't really recognize what race they was. But check this out.
Chair in front of a great battle scene. And the text says, Sennacherib, king of the universe, king of Assyria, seated upon a sedan chair, the spoils of Lachish passed before him. And we can actually take a look at some of the spoils of.
Look at that. Them are so-called black men right there. Look at the cornrows, right? Look at the beards. Look at the features. And this is actually, like I say, in an actual museum, man. And it lines back up to everything is consistency. That's how we know who these people are today. Plus the curses. And the curses, you can read about them in Deuteronomy 28. That goes into all the things that we suffering right now. We're on the bottom of society. And this was all set up to because we didn't keep the ways of the Lord, Yahweh Shai, keeping the statutes, laws, and commandments. We weren't supposed to eat pork. We still ain't supposed to eat pork. We ain't supposed to celebrate these holidays, man, because these are pagan holidays. That's doing idolatry. That's the main thing that got us into this situation. So if we continue these things, we're gonna get destroyed, right? And time is coming short that we're trying to wake our people up because judgment is getting ready to happen. Why you think all this stuff happening in the world, all this stuff happening in society, people not taking note. But it said that most of our people was not going to make it out of here during this judgment that's getting ready to come. It's going to be a great judgment, and most of our people not going to make it, and they're going to wish they had listened. But this just showing you proof who the real Jews are. So no doubt about it, they will be the so-called black people of today. West, Haitians and all that. Jamaicans, right? Now we know our brothers in the northern tribes have been lightened up. Some of them gonna look a certain way, but the spirit is what matters. Goes back into a physical bloodline, an actual, seed line of what your father is, and so on and so forth. We just like to keep it simple, but these things are gonna intensify, and we're gonna keep, putting out this information. So subscribe to this channel. And hopefully this lesson was edifying. Call halal Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim, Shalom.